Everyone, and welcome to episode 26 of the Halftime Sports Talk Show. I'm your host, Reese Kinder. Sorry, my voice is raspy. I was at the Auburn game this past weekend, but another week, some more college football to talk about. We're not going to hit NFL today, sadly. NFL is tonight. I think we'll hit more on NFL next week. Just didn't really feel like doing it because I feel like today's going to be a longer episode than most. But today on the episode, we're going to be recapping week 8 of college football and also previewing week 9 and then taking a look at the college football AP poll and all that and more coming up on episode 26 of the Halftime Sports Talk Show. Hello, everyone, and welcome into the show. Like I said in the intro, last few days, my voice has been kind of raspy. I was at the Auburn game on Saturday, but it was fun times, great atmosphere like usual. Just another loss like usual. But we're gonna get started on the show today. We're gonna start off with Week 8 college football recap and our first game up. This was a Friday game. I actually posted this on Friday night after obviously some of you guys know that watch the channel. I am high school broadcaster for Auburn High School, so we were doing a broadcast for Auburn versus Carver. Auburn Tigers got the win 41-7, but could not watch this Miami Louisville game. But Louisville upsets the Hurricanes 24-21. Miller Moss 23 for 37, 248 with 2 touchdown passes, and then Carson Beck 25 for 35 and 271 yards. 4 interceptions on the day for Carson Beck, and just a bad, horrible outing, to be honest, from Carson Beck and the Canes. I thought this team going into this game, I was like, because a bunch of people kept telling me during the week, they were like, I think Louisville's going to win because, Louisville's head coach, I don't exactly know his name. That's my bad. But I don't exactly know his name, but he's won big games. He's done this, he's done that. And I was like, nah, there's no way. There's no way. I just see Miami is a really good team this year. There's nothing I see standing in their way. But I was wrong. I mean, I was totally wrong on this. Miami looks so bad. And I feel bad too because you're Carson Beck. You're blaming your other players for your mistakes. That's not a leader right there in Carson Beck. And I hope that Miami turns this around and figures it out. But we saw this last year too. Miami lost 3 games last year that they really shouldn't have. They lost to Georgia Tech, they lost to Syracuse, and then they lost to some other team. I forgot who it was. But Miami did not have a good ending last year after starting really solid on the season. But the Hurricanes this year look like a better team than last year's team and still can't get the job done at home. And I think it's just coaching, and I also think it's play calling as well and decision making. Because Carson Beck had a choice to throw the ball to those guys. They weren't even open. He threw one into triple coverage. I watched that replay on Saturday morning. He threw one into triple coverage, basically just saying, he's down there somewhere, but he was not down there somewhere. That literally 3 Louisville guys down there, and obviously they come up with it at the end of the day. And then Miller Moss on Louisville's side of things didn't have his best game, but still was passing to a point to where Miami had trouble covering it. And Miami's defense was okay, but at the end of the day as well, I feel like, this Louisville team had a way better game plan than Miami. I mean, it's obvious because this Hurricanes team came in here, I guess, thinking, it's just Louisville. We're playing at home, and we should be able to easily win this game. But Louisville sure did get a big win against the Hurricanes on Friday night, and this shakes up the ACC race now. I have Georgia Tech winning the ACC now after they beat Duke on Saturday morning at 11 a.m. I have them winning the ACC now. And Virginia struggled against Washington State, but they still got the job done. That's one of those things like how Ole Miss did the week before they played Georgia this week. It's one of those things where you're playing Washington State middle conference play, and you don't really want to play that game in an early. Actually, no, it was a midday game. You don't want to kind of play that game, and Virginia still won on the most weird fashion ever. They got a safety and won that game, but Virginia still got the win. So I still have Georgia Tech and Virginia. That's honestly my ACC championship right now, which would be it's actually funny. So I was looking on Instagram earlier and I saw a post. It was like we're living in a college football alternative world right now because it's like Georgia Tech's ranked number what was it? Number 7, Vanderbilt's top 10, Indiana's a natty contender, all this and all that, and like, Virginia's good at football. Like it's really crazy to think like a few years back all these teams were horrible at football and now they're just at the top of the college football world right now and competing at the highest level in these games. But yeah, going back to the Miami Louisville game, I think Louisville is also an ACC championship contender. Miami can be if they fix things in practice this upcoming week because their schedule should be really easy the rest of the way, but we'll just have to see. But Louisville beats Miami in Miami's home stadium at Hard Rock 24-21 on Friday night in a huge game that Louisville needed to win to keep their ACC championship hopes alive. We're now going to move though to our next Friday game. This one, man, oh my goodness. I had so much hope in Nebraska. I was like, there's no way they lose this game. I'm so glad I did not pick them to like in the pick 'em thing because I would have lost. Like, I did not think that this was going to be that bad. But Dylan Raiola, 17 for 25, 177 yards, no touchdown passes at all. And then Drake Lindsey from Minnesota, 16 for 20, 153 yards, and one touchdown. This Minnesota team relied on defense the whole game, and it worked. I mean, this Minnesota has been decent as like I've been growing up. They've been decent. They've been had one good season where obviously I believe it was 2019 they were like outstanding and almost made the Big Ten championship game. But Minnesota has been outstanding these past few years, and they played a great game against Nebraska, 24-6. Dylan Raiola had trouble finding receivers, as you could see from the stat line, and usually Raiola is having 300-yard games, but this is one of those games that Matt Rule has to win. You want to. You're saying that you're a college football playoff team. You're ready for that next step in your program, and Nebraska's been on the verge of that for the last few years, and they just come out there and lay an egg on Friday night. And you can make all the excuses like, well, the environment was loud and everything for Minnesota. Dylan Raiola played good, but he just couldn't get it done. Like you can do all that, but at the end of the day, Dylan Raiola is a really good quarterback and should be able to outperform guys like Drake Lindsey in this Minnesota defense. I mean, you should be able to find your receivers. And why are we not giving the ball to Emmett Johnson, the running back for Nebraska? Like that makes no sense. But the Cornhuskers do drop this one on Friday night. I'm really disappointed in the performance. I'd hoped this Nebraska team could climb in the rankings as the weeks continue and maybe get in the college football playoffs. Maybe they can. They still have some decent teams on their schedule. I believe USC is still on their schedule. But they still have some games to make up. If they win out and go 10-2, then maybe Nebraska could sneak into the college football playoff. But we'll have to see. But yeah, Minnesota upsets Nebraska 24-6 on Friday night. There was a field storm, but yeah, big win for the Gophers. And they look pretty decent. So we'll have to see what they look like down the road. But gonna move now to our Saturday slate of games. We're going to move into Saturday slate. We're going to start with College Game Day, Ole Miss and Georgia. This game was how I pictured it to be, man. Trinidad Chambliss, let's start with the stat line. 19 for 36, 263 yards, one touchdown pass. And then Gunnar Stockton had probably the best game of his Georgia Bulldogs career. 26 for 31, 289 passing yards, and four touchdown passes. This game was outstanding. It was back and forth scoring game. Ole Miss proved to me they are a great football team. It's just, those latter parts of the game, you have to maintain a lead. You were up 9 in the third quarter, I believe. You have to be able to maintain a lead in that situation. Sadly, Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss were not able to do so, but it still was a pretty good showing from Ole Miss. I believe the Rebels have it next week against Oklahoma, which we'll get to that later. But this Ole Miss team and this Georgia team both looked outstanding in this game. I do think Georgia will make it to Atlanta for the SEC championship. I think it's going to be Georgia and Bama in the SEC championship, to be honest. But Gunnar Stockton, like I said, had the best game of his Georgia Bulldogs career, 26 for 31, 289 passing yards, and 4 touchdown passes. And just an outstanding game from, you know, from the Rebels and the Bulldogs, but let's get to the Bulldog side of things first. Kirby Smart had a great game plan going in this game. It was in Athens. The crowd, to be honest, I mean, didn't seem to pay a factor against Ole Miss because I really feel like the Rebels were able to get it done, except at the end of the game, you saw Trinidad Chambliss kind of struggle. But for his first official road game in Division One, Trinidad Chambliss didn't do that bad. He was a little bit inaccurate, but those are things you can fix in the week, like going into Oklahoma next week. Ole Miss got a tough game against the Sooners, but this Ole Miss team don't shy away from the fact that they are still a good football team. Lane Kiffin's still a great football coach, and I feel like the Rebels are going to be able to fix things as the weeks progress. And I really would like to see how this Ole Miss team performs the rest of the season. I hope to see them in the college football playoff, to be honest, because this is a fun Ole Miss team. The defense is not quite there yet. Lane Kiffin obviously going to have to sit down with that defensive coordinator and figure out some things. But once the defense gets there, then I feel like they'll be able to back up that offense in Ole Miss. Ole Miss has a high-powered offense, and if they're able to win games and continue to do what they did before this Georgia loss, then look out, because they're going to be a tough team to beat in the SEC, especially since their schedule is really tough to end the second half of the season. But as the weeks go by, you're playing a ranked team every week in the SEC, so Ole Miss is gonna have to be ready for that challenge. And on Georgia's side of things, Georgia still's got some tough opponents. Georgia Tech on that schedule. Georgia Tech is number 7 in the country, but I'm really excited to see what this Georgia team could do down the road. I believe they have a pretty easier way to get to that SEC championship, but we'll see how it works out. This Georgia team's offense is really good, but the defense still lacks on a lot of things. Definitely pass coverage, the run game for sure definitely hurts Georgia. But if they're able to adjust those things, because it is still some time to adjust it before the college football playoffs and before conference championship week, if Georgia's able to adjust those things, then this Bulldogs team will be lethal in the college football playoff. But yeah, final score from Athens, 43-35. Ole Miss had that chance at the end of the game, but could not get it done. So the Bulldogs come up with a huge win in conference play yet again and survive in Athens. Now, though, we will move to a rivalry game. This is the third Saturday in October game. It is Tennessee and Alabama. I could have told you so. I picked Alabama for a reason. But we're going to get into the stat line first. Joey Aguilar, 28 for 44, 266 yards, 1 TD and an interception. Then Ty Simpson, 19 for 29, 253 yards and 2 TDs. Like I said, I could have told you so in this game. Alabama has too much offensive firepower to not win this game. Tennessee's defense has lacked in the pass coverage the past few weeks. And you see here, perfect example, Alabama puts up 37 points against the Tennessee defense that, like I said, lacks in pass coverage. Kind of lacks in run game, and this Alabama team was able to get the job done at home. Tennessee just looked, out of it, and it looked close at the start. Tennessee scored first. I was like, okay, this game's actually, going to be a decent game. This will be close, close-knit game. I feel like both teams will be firing on all cylinders. It kind of is going to be like the Ole Miss Georgia game, and it was nowhere close to that. Joey Aguilar, that one interception at the goal line before halftime, that's what killed the game right there. Joey Aguilar cannot make those mistakes. He didn't make those mistakes against Georgia, but someone actually pointed this out yesterday on Sunday. They were like, if you look at it, Tennessee's toughest opponent was Mississippi State at Mississippi State, who they've won against, and they're still in the top 25. And I mean, to be fair, they're right, because Tennessee should be out of the top 25 because they've lost. I mean, they lost close to Georgia, but they got blown out by Alabama by almost 20 points. And that to me signifies that they're not quite ready for a big game against a team like Alabama, because Alabama, what is this now? The fourth ranked team in a row that they've beaten. And if Alabama continues to ride this momentum, they're going to win games big. They've gotten that confidence after the Florida State loss, and Florida State now is 3-4. So you can put that behind you now if you're Alabama, and you can be like, we got back on track. We are on pace now to get an SEC championship. We're going to face Georgia again, who we've already beat, and we're going to beat them again, which I think that's going to happen, to be honest, if Georgia and Bama meet again. So Ty Simpson has proven the doubters wrong time and time again, including myself. I doubted Ty Simpson, but this quarterback that Alabama has is a wonderful, wonderful addition to this offense, and I really feel like Alabama is going to continue to rise to the occasion as the weeks progress. And then on Tennessee's side of things, man, it's just you gotta fix the defense. If the defense is there, it's the same problem with Ole Miss. Tennessee can score offensively if they don't turn over the ball. But if you don't turn over the ball and you fix that defense, then this Tennessee team could be good. But I say give it another year or two until Tennessee's back up in the top 10 range and stuff like that, because I think this year they'll still be a decent team. I think they'll maybe finish 8-4, 9-3, but they're just not going to be what they were last year or the year before, due to the fact that they've played so many tough teams and they've lost so many close games. But Tennessee and Alabama, 37-20. The Crimson Tide get another big win against the Vols. Another big win on their season as well against another Tennessee team. So they sweep the state, Vanderbilt and Tennessee both. But moving on now to our next game on the slate, it is Texas Tech versus Arizona State, and this one hurts me. I got this pick wrong. Um, man, I got this pick wrong, and I should have known. I should have known. Texas Tech and Arizona State. Will Hammond, 22 for 37, 167 yards, 2 TDs, and an interception. And then Sam Levitt had a outstanding game, 319 yards, 28 for 47, and one touchdown pass. I give credit to the Sun Devils. The defense was there the entire game. Sam Levitt was playing outstanding, a little bit inaccurate, but he was still playing good. Threw for 300 yards. Didn't throw as many TDs as I expected, but this Arizona State team deserves this win. If the thing is, though, I will say this is what's holding Arizona State back. If Sam Levitt's injured, that's all they rely on. And to be honest, that's not good, because if Sam Levitt gets injured again, which he's shown he's injury prone, if he gets injured again, then this Arizona State team is going to have trouble against teams, because we saw against Utah they got embarrassed, but against Texas Tech, Sam Levitt comes back, and you see what happens. Is perfect example. Texas Tech and Arizona State. An injury is key to the game last week against Utah, and Sam Levitt comes back and gets the Sun Devils the victory. Huge win though for Arizona State, and they keep their Big 12 playoff or Big 12 championship hopes alive, because if Texas Tech loses another game, and then if BYU loses two more games, Arizona State is in the same situation they were last year, and they make it to Dallas, Texas, Arlington, Texas, actually, to play in Jerry World, in that big stadium for the Big 12 championship. And I'm really have hope that this Arizona State team could get that job done if Sam Levitt is healthy, but it just depends on that. And then Texas Tech, man, I had so much hope in y'all that y'all would, be able to win this game, go to, what is it now? They'd be able to go to 7-0, and you know, they just disappointed me yet again, and I feel really bad for not picking Arizona State. Texas Tech, it's still a great team, but Arizona State exposed a lot of things. Will Hammond had an inaccurate game, did not throw good at all, and threw that interception, and it really hurt Texas Tech in the latter part of the game. So I think this Texas Tech team still has a lot of stuff to build on, but I still think they're good. Give them maybe a game or two, and they'll be back on their feet yet again. But yeah, Arizona State wins 26-22 against the you know Texas Tech Red Raiders, and that's a big win for this Arizona State team as they continue to ride that momentum after dropping the Utah game last week. But I'll be really interested to see what happens in the weeks to come. But our next game on the slate, this one is big, y'all. LSU versus Vanderbilt. Let's get into the stat line first. Garrett Nussmeier, 19 for 29, 225 yards, 2 TDs, and then Diego Pavia, 14 for 22, 160 yards, 1 touchdown pass. Um, Thank you, Vanderbilt, for showing the college football world that you guys are back after the Alabama loss. Everybody doubted Vanderbilt in this game. I heard from a lot of people during the week. They were like, they were asking me like, you really think Vanderbilt can win the game? I was like, yes, I certainly do. LSU lacks so much defensively, and they also just lack a lot offensively too. Garrett Nussmeier cannot move the ball downfield on certain opportunities, and you saw that in the game. Vanderbilt has one of the best defenses, if not the best defense in the SEC this year, which is very underlooked from a lot of people. And then that offense in Vanderbilt can get going in certain points of the game, and we saw that as well. Diego Pavia hit the Heisman pose, and sure enough, he looked like it on Saturday against LSU. And just another outstanding, performance from Diego Pavia, showing us why Vanderbilt belongs in the conversation of the college football playoff. And they're currently, if the college football rankings came out today, and they were ranked, oh, excuse me, and they were ranked, then you know Vanderbilt would be in the college football playoff. But this Vandy team showing everybody why they can be in the college football playoff and be a good team. They're facing Missouri next week. We'll get into that here in a minute. Um, but yeah, LSU on their side of things, like I said, they lack a ton just on defensive scheme and also just offensive wise. They lack the ability to just move the ball downfield and opportunities that they need to, and they also turn the ball over a lot. Then this LSU team showed us why they're still not for real under Brian Kelly in year, what is it now, 5, I believe. But Vanderbilt gets a big win, 31-24. And if you guys want to keep up with scores, don't forget, it is down below on the graphic. Don't forget to follow Halftime Sports _ official on Instagram so you guys can get your updates basically daily, mainly every weekend because I try not to post daily, but mainly every weekend you'll get your updates about scores and stuff and about my game picks. So yeah, hopefully you guys check that out because the game picks come out every Monday or Sunday. Like yesterday, I put them out, but they come out every day before like Monday or Sunday range, so you guys can get your picks in if you guys are interested in doing that. But yeah, Vanderbilt gets a big win against the LSU Tigers, and yeah, just another huge win under Clark Lee with the Commodores. But we're going to get into our next game up on the slate. It is USC and Notre Dame. Big rivalry game. Jaden Mayava, 22 for 42, 328 yards, 2 TDs, and 2 INTs. And then CJ Carr, 16 for 26, 136 yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 interception. Jaden Mayava, man, USC still lost this game, but Jaden Mayava, another 300-yard game. And he just showed us why, he's so talented on that USC team. And my thing is, too, if USC had a defense worth anything, USC would have won this game. CJ Carr did not play that good. Yet again, he threw for under 200 yards yet again in another performance. But yeah, another great outing from Jaden Mayava. But Lincoln Riley, should have recruited a defense, but I think this USC team's headed in the right direction under Lincoln Riley, and I'll really be interested to see what they can do. But on Notre Dame side of things, Jeremiah Love had a great game. CJ Carr didn't have the best of games, but he still was able to produce when he needed to. And this Notre Dame team is keeping their college football playoff hopes alive. I was really surprised they were going to win this game. I said they were going to win because it's in South Bend. If this was in maybe Los Angeles, I could see USC possibly winning, but the Trojans get a huge win, or not the Trojans, the Irish get a huge win against USC, and 34-24. You see, guys, my brain's fried right now. It's the start of the week, tired already. Almost the end of October. We're getting into the big brute of the college football schedule, but yeah, Notre Dame and USC 34-24. Notre Dame gets a big win against the Trojans and continue to keep their college football playoff hopes alive. And guys, this next game, obviously you can tell by my reaction. It's Not surprising at all. This is why I picked Missouri to win this game. But Auburn and Missouri, I'm so glad I don't have to do Auburn again until maybe the Iron Bowl. We'll see. But starting with the stat line, Bo Prabula, 23 for 40, 260 or 252 yards, two interceptions, and Jackson Arnold, 18 for 30, 207 yards and one interception. Um, Another game that Auburn loses that, you know, they should have won. And this one wasn't because of refs. This one was because simply Jackson Arnold sucks. I've said it for the past. Sorry, the camera shake. So I've said it for the past 3 or 4 weeks. Jackson Arnold sucks at quarterback. Um, Hugh Freeze, I don't know how he still has a job. I honestly hope he loses the Arkansas game so Auburn can just go ahead and fire him. I mean, I wouldn't be, you know, mad if we lost the Arkansas game. I could care less about Auburn football right now. Panthers football, keep pounding, represent. But yeah, I'm tired of it. The fans are tired of it. Um, it's really sad. I mean, to see a football program that was so they were here in 2017 when Gus Malzahn was here, and now they're down here. It's just like the decline is just so bad, and I really feel bad for Auburn fans like myself and just, you know, Auburn fans everywhere. Just it really sucks. I mean, I want to say that we're a good football team in the future, but I don't know how much longer this team is going to be bad because if we go through another coach again, then that's what's going to happen. But Missouri gets a big win. Did not look good at all. Did not deserve to win that game, but Auburn handed them the win at the end of the day. Final score 23-17. Missouri gets the win, and they go to Vanderbilt next week to see if they can beat the Commodores at home. It's kind of hard to do that since First Bank Stadium has been sold out actually two games in a row. So we'll see what happens in that game, and we'll highlight here in a minute. But yeah, Auburn loses another one, and Hugh Freeze's job is this close to being gone. Speaking of jobs, Billy Napier did get fired yesterday. Not covering that today because I mean it was coming anyway. So yeah, you know, just another disappointing loss for Auburn. But Missouri gets a big win and continues to look pretty decent. But now going to our next game on the slate, it is Utah versus BYU, the Holy War rivalry. And this lived up to the hype. Big noon kickoff. Devin Dampier, though, start with the stat line: 20 for 38, 244 yards, two touchdowns, one interception, and then Bear Bachmeyer, 13 for 22, 166 yards and a TD. You know, not a bad game for both teams. BYU, though, the reason BYU won this game, the defensive side of things was outstanding. The Cougs were able to get a big, big win just because the offense was okay. Like you saw, Bachmeyer, 166 yards, not the best performance, but if he can improve after that, I feel like this BYU team's going to get it done. They have a tough game this week against Iowa State. So, you know, another day, another game for a Big 12 team. So if this BYU team can lock in, then they might be college football playoff team and even a a Big 12 championship team as well. So BYU and Utah, Utah side of things, Devin Napier looked better, looked a lot better this week than he has in the past. Was able to throw more this week than he had been in previous weeks before. But yeah, Utah's still not able to get the job done. But I believe in this Utah team. Kyle Whittingham, I believe, has a great program there in Utah and still is going to be able to develop a quarterback like Devin Dampier, who still has years of eligibility on his eligibility card. But yeah, Utah and BYU 24-21. The Cougars get a win in the Holy War and beat Utah at home. But before we go to week actually no, we're gonna go to week 9 now. And week 9, guys, I'm proud of myself because you know what we did this week? We did something that we have not done on this show yet. We Our picking record was 7-2. We went 7-2 on the picking record. An outstanding week for me on the picks. Now our record's 33-32. We're hoping to keep that momentum up going into week 9 and week 10. But I mean, I'm just so proud that I was able to get those picks back, and even continue to show how good the picking knowledge is up here, because Taylor and Max clowned on me for having a terrible record. But guys, we're back now. We're back. One game above 500. We're gonna take it one step at a time, and we'll be there. But gonna get in to our Week 9 preview, and starting with our Week 9 preview, we're gonna start with Vanderbilt and Missouri. We said we were gonna highlight this game, and we will. It's game day in Nashville, the first time in I don't know how long, but game day in Nashville. This Vanderbilt team coming off of a hot game against LSU, and then Missouri coming off of a close win in Jordan-Hare Stadium. They're playing at Vanderbilt. This game, I don't see a different reality where I don't pick Vanderbilt in this game. I'm going with the Commodores in this game. Yet again, they're going to improve their record to 7-1 on the season, and they're going to move into the top 5 is where they're going to move. This Vanderbilt team has shown me so much, and they're going to continue to ride this momentum. Diego Pavia is going to have another monster game. I just don't see where Bo Perbula and that run game get going against a Vanderbilt defense who's been really good, actually, at stopping the run. The pass, though, still a lot of work, but if Vanderbilt can get that adjusted this week, then, looking at the upcoming schedule, Vanderbilt's got Missouri this week. I believe they have Texas the week after. They have Auburn, they have Kentucky, and they have Tennessee. I think, to be honest, if they beat Missouri, they might lose one more game, and it's probably Tennessee, at Tennessee. That's probably the last game they lose, because they're gonna be ranked in the top 5 by the time they play Tennessee if they win those games. I said they probably will. So Vanderbilt, I think, beats Missouri pretty easily in Nashville. Game day, first time it's there in a while. Yeah, so I got the Commodores here against Missouri, and I'm really liking what I'm seeing from Clark Lee and his squad. But yeah, first game up on the pick'em. I'm really liking it. Now, next game on the pick'em. This is an 11 a.m. game. Huge college football playoff implications for the G5s. USF versus Memphis. We usually don't highlight Group of 5 schools on this podcast. USF's been the story. Same with Memphis this season. Memphis did lose to UAB. They got upset. And I was really disappointed. But it's at Memphis. But this USF team comes into away environments and gets big wins. They did it against North Texas. I think the Bulls are going to be able to do it again. Go Bulls. I think they're going to be able to do it again against Memphis. They're going to continue to ride the momentum. They're ranked 18th currently. They're going to go from 18th, I think, to 14th after they win this game. And I think the Bulls have got this in the bag. Byron Brown and Coach Alex Golish both got a game plan going to win this game. I think it's going to be close, but, if Memphis wins, man, then that just shakes up everything yet again. But this USF team, I think, is really good. They've never, their only big loss was against Miami, and we see Miami lost to Louisville now. So this USF team, really good team, and I think they're going to be your Group of 5 representative if they can beat Memphis. And if Memphis beats them, then Memphis is your Group of 5 representative for sure. But we'll see. Huge game, like I mentioned, for college football playoff implications, but I got USF in this one. And like I mentioned earlier, before we moved on to week 9, one of the games we're highlighting, BYU at Iowa State. Can BYU continue to play good football? I think they can, but I think this is a trap game, to be honest. Iowa State struggled the past few weeks. They're coming off a bye week. They're not ranked. It's at Iowa State. Matt Campbell is going to get his guys together. For some reason, I just see this being either a close game or Iowa State upsets. If Iowa State upsets, then, I mean, that just shakes up the Big 12, because that means the only good team in the Big 12 would be BYU and Texas Tech, but they would be tied. So I think BYU wins this game, but this is probably one of the ones, along with USF and Memphis, that I might get wrong due to the fact that BYU is going to an away environment, and it's pretty tough to play there at Iowa State. But I got the Cougars winning this one, but if they lose, I wouldn't be surprised due to the fact that Iowa State's environment's pretty big. But BYU and Iowa State, I believe that's 3 o'clock on Fox on Saturday, but big game, big implications for that one. And our last game of the Week 9 preview, it is Texas A&M versus LSU. I know on the graphic I put LSU and Texas A&M, is my bad, but Texas A&M and LSU, you know, big game for these Aggies. Are the Aggies legit, or and can they win in Death Valley? I think they can. I think they can, but I, for some reason, feel like LSU is mad about that Vanderbilt loss, and they're going to come in here and beat Texas A&M's butt. And I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if that happened because the Aggies, I don't know how for real they are, but if they're as for real as I think, then they win this game for sure against LSU and continue to ride that momentum. But yeah, I like Texas A&M to win this one, but don't be surprised if LSU keeps it close. Well, that's going to do it for Week 9 preview. If you guys want to check out the picks, like I said, go to Halftime Sports _official on Instagram. Big things on there. A lot of posts, a lot of updates and everything like that. I need to start doing NFL picks as well. Definitely been thinking about that. Might do college basketball picks for sure. But that's going to do it for Week 9. Hopefully the pick record stays good. We continue to ride momentum as the weeks go on. But we're going to move now to our last category, last topic of the show. It is AP poll reaction with the college football playoff weeks away. Here is the AP poll. Obviously, our top 5. It is obviously Ohio State, Indiana, Texas A&M, Alabama, and Georgia. Really liking the top 5 right here. Indiana, number 2 in the country. That's crazy. And Texas A&M is number 3. Who would have thought that would happen at the start of the college football season? And then your 6 through 10, Oregon, Georgia Tech, Ole Miss, Miami, and Vanderbilt. Miami in my top 25 has moved a little bit further back due to the fact that they struggled against Louisville. I had Georgia Tech, actually. I had them way up there. I believe I had them at 6. And then, Vanderbilt, love where they're at. I had them a little closer, maybe at 8 or 9. And then your 11 through 15 is BYU, Notre Dame, Oklahoma, Texas Tech, and Missouri. Really like that right there. Texas Tech, I think, should have moved back maybe 2 spots further. They lost to Arizona State team who's unranked. And then your 16 through 20 is Virginia, Tennessee, South Florida, Louisville, and LSU. And then your 21 through 25 is Cincinnati, Texas, Illinois, and Arizona State and Michigan. I think to top it off here, I think Texas and Illinois shouldn't be ranked, but to be honest, we'll just have to see what happens. But I really do like the AP poll a lot this week. They did a good job, I think. And, I'm really interested to see how the rest of it goes. But we're getting close, like I mentioned, this close to the college football playoff poll coming out soon. So, yeah, I mean, really exciting things coming up. College basketball season's getting here soon, about 2 weeks away. But yeah, that's gonna do it though for the episode 26 of the Halftime Sports Talk Show. But don't forget, guys, obviously like and subscribe. Sorry I didn't do NFL this week, just really tired from the weekend. But I'll be back next week with NFL. A lot of news, a lot of things to recap. But college football, guys, more and more of it. Just cherish it as the season goes on. But I hope you guys enjoy a great week. I hope you guys stay safe and have a great rest of your evening. But that's going to do it for the episode, and we'll see you guys back again next week.